She will never admit this. Not because she is malicious, not because she is manipulative, but because most human beings do not consciously articulate the forces that drive them. We are all moved by hidden currents: fear of abandonment, fear of inadequacy, fear of being unseen. Modern dating has become a stage where these fears perform in subtle ways, and if we do not understand them, we will be controlled by them. We wake each morning with a choice. We can enter the world reactive, waiting for texts, analyzing tone shifts, obsessing over silence, or we can enter the day grounded, sovereign within ourselves. The ancient emperor once wrote in his private journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That is where this path begins, not with changing her, not with decoding every move, but with mastering what happens inside us. If we are to move with clarity, we must first understand the invisible pressures shaping modern connection, not to exploit them, not to condemn them, but to see them without illusion. Because once we see clearly, we stop reacting emotionally. We become steady, and steadiness is rare. What follows is not about exposing weakness in others. It is about removing blindness in ourselves. 1. The fear of being replaceable. Beneath confidence, beneath curated images and composed responses, there often lies a quiet anxiety, the fear of being easily replaced. In a world of infinite options, everyone feels disposable. Dating apps, social media, constant comparison, they whisper the same message: you are one swipe away from being forgotten. She may never admit that this fear shapes her reactions, but it does. Delayed responses, testing your consistency, sudden withdrawal when she feels too vulnerable. These behaviors are rarely random. They are shields. When someone fears being replaceable, they sometimes detach first, so they cannot be discarded later. If we are unaware of this, we react emotionally. We chase harder. We seek reassurance. We over-explain. But that only signals instability. And instability magnifies insecurity on both sides. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. We must be willing to appear unbothered when our ego screams for validation. We must remain centered when communication fluctuates, not because we do not care, but because our identity is not anchored in someone else's attention. The disciplined man does not compete in the marketplace of replaceability. He builds such depth in his character that comparison becomes irrelevant. When we stop fearing being replaced, we stop reacting to the fear of others. And in that calm detachment, something changes. We become steady ground in a world built on shifting sand. 2. The fear of not being enough. Another hidden driver is the fear of inadequacy, not being beautiful enough, not being interesting enough, not being chosen long-term. Modern culture amplifies comparison to an extreme degree. Filters, highlight reels, endless competition for attention. It breeds silent self-doubt. When someone feels not enough, they may overcompensate. They may seek constant reassurance. They may test loyalty. They may withdraw the moment they sense disinterest, even if that disinterest is imagined. If we take these reactions personally, we are pulled into emotional chaos. We try to fix what we did not break. We attempt to soothe insecurities that are not ours to carry, and slowly, we abandon ourselves. Seneca warned, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Much of the tension in modern dating exists in imagined narratives, stories created in the mind, fueled by insecurity. If we absorb those stories as truth, we become prisoners of someone else's fear. Our task is not to solve her insecurity. It is to remain anchored in our own worth. When we cultivate excellence in body, mind, and character, we stop negotiating for validation. And paradoxically, when we do not beg to be seen, we are seen more clearly. 3. The fear of losing power control is a subtle currency in dating. Who cares more? Who texts first? Who commits first? Beneath these dynamics often lies the fear of losing leverage. Power in this context is rarely about domination. It is about protection. If she feels she is losing control, she may create distance. She may shift energy. She may test boundaries. If we are insecure, we respond with counter moves. We play games. We mirror coldness. We escalate. But this is emotional immaturity disguised as strategy. The emperor-philosopher reminded himself daily, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. We do not mirror manipulation. We transcend it. When someone plays power games, we refuse to enter the arena. True power is not in controlling another person. It is in controlling our impulses, our reactions, our need to win. When we release the obsession with leverage, we become untouchable, because no one can manipulate the man who refuses to compete for dominance. 4. The fear of vulnerability. To open oneself emotionally is to risk pain. Many have been hurt before, betrayed, misled, abandoned. So vulnerability becomes terrifying. This fear often appears as mixed signals: warmth followed by distance, openness followed by retreat. It confuses those who are not steady within themselves. If we do not understand this pattern, we assume rejection. We internalize the withdrawal. We panic. But vulnerability is a slow process. It unfolds in layers. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." We do not demand vulnerability. We create safety through consistency, through patience, through emotional stability. When we are not desperate for immediate intimacy, we allow trust to build organically. We are not shaken by temporary distance. We understand that walls are not personal attacks. They are protective mechanisms. And when we are patient enough, those walls sometimes lower on their own. 5. The fear of emotional chaos. Modern dating is saturated with overstimulation, constant messaging, external opinions, dramatic narratives online. Many people are internally overwhelmed. They crave intensity but fear stability because stability feels unfamiliar. Emotional chaos can feel exciting. Calm can feel boring. This contradiction leads to self-sabotage. If we chase drama, we feed this cycle. If we argue, react, escalate, we become part of the storm. But if we remain composed, grounded, measured, we introduce something rare. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do." This is the antidote to chaos. We do not fuel instability with instability. We become the still point in the spinning world. And in that stillness, we reclaim authority over our emotions. When we stop reacting to every shift, we stop being controlled by them. Modern dating is not a battlefield between men and women. It is a landscape of unspoken fears colliding with fragile egos. If we enter this landscape unconsciously, we are tossed around by every subtle change in tone or energy. But if we enter it disciplined, aware of insecurity, grounded in self-respect, immune to emotional manipulation, we move differently. We do not chase validation. We do not collapse under silence. We do not compete for leverage. We do not demand vulnerability. We do not participate in chaos. Each morning, we recommit to mastery over self. We train the body. We sharpen the mind. We regulate emotion. We choose response over reaction. And in doing so, we transform modern dating from a source of anxiety into a training ground for virtue. Because in the end, the real conquest is never another person. It is the quiet dominion over our own mind.